was in San Diego. I was given a tip. Has to do with mortgage fraud by people who are members of the bar. And I got a tip off there was going to be a protest in San Diego. So I drove all the way down to San Diego. I waited till a little past 11. There were some people gathered. A guy named Charles Copa, I knew him. A person named Renee Powers, I knew her. And a lot more people I didn't know.
I'll stop and talk about that a little more later. How's that?
Good. What's your name?
Charles Copa.
Maybe get help. I don't know how to help a person.
Do you work here? What are you doing?
Well, I'm asking you a question first.
I'm asking you a question.
Well,
what are you doing?
We're taking a walk to the park. But do you work here?
But what is the involvement in front of the building?
Again, I don't know who you are, so I don't know you.
You do, because I work here. So what is your...
A lot of people work here, honey. That doesn't mean I
What's
have
your
to
name,
answer to you.
ma'am? Could we have a name?
Hi, honey.
Could we have a name? Could I ask you a few questions? We'd like to talk to you.
Yeah. I don't know.
My name's Terry. Okay. Hey, William.
Hi.
Hey, you know what? I saw someone coming out the back door calling for everybody to come out.
Yes.
Hey, who are you guys with?
I'm with On Second Thought Television.
Okay.
What's your name?
Is there a reason? No.
You're
But
Dave
is there a
Owen?
reason? Is there a reason you're in front of our building?
Yeah, I'm filming these people.
We're taking a walk to the park. Hi, Dave. My
Okay,
name's Billy.
The park is that way.
Yeah, well, we had a meeting place.
Okay.
May I shake your hand?
No, we're just curious. We thought you were trying
What
to
do
film
you
our
ha-
building. This is our property, so we'd appreciate if you just stay on the public property.
Oh, we
Okay,
are.
we'll
May
say-
I
can we
ask
ask
at
you
the
some
front door,
questions?
who's
No.
in charge here?
No, I'm in charge, but it
What is your title?
doesn't
I'm just
matter.
asking because I was confronted by one of your employees and she was a little rude to me, and I'm just asking. She wanted to know what we were doing. I said, we're
Okay.
taking a
Well,
walk.
Well, look, she has every right.
We value
Anybody
our-
can
But
come
I
up to
have
you
a
and
right,
ask.
too, to ask who she is.
And
as
then
a-
we can deny that and then
So-
everybody is on the same page.
So are you an attorney?
Yeah, I'm an attorney.
You are? Are you also an attorney?
No, I'm not.
So you're an attorney. What is your name?
I don't have to give you my name, but I
Okay,
could
well,
ask
I'm
you
gonna
not
give
to
you
be on
mine.
that.
I'm going to give you mine.
But I'm going to
Please
ask
don't
you.
get on our property.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not
ask-
on your property. We're
You
all on
were
public.
before.
We're on
Okay.
public property. We were just, you know what? We had old women sitting there. We were taking pictures.
right.
My name's Billy.
It's not a secret.
Nice to meet you. And your name again is?
I'm not going to say. I don't need to give
But
you
you're
my
an
name.
attorney with McCARTHY and Holthus.
I am, yes.
Thank you.
And is this a foreclosure mill?
Are you filming
foreclosed
right
on?
now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm on
It's a
public
problem.
property.
Turn it off.
I'm on pub. No, I'm not going to turn off. We're
It's
on
a law
public
firm, but you do
property.
need my consent to be
No.
videotaping.
No, I
me.
don't. Not in
No,
public property. You don't.
Yeah.
I think you do.
Well, now you do. So what are we doing now? Turn it off. What are
Okay,
we doing
shall we
now?
do our-
You
shall
need
we
my
take
consent.
our
Do you have a
Shall we
waiver
take-
for me to sign?
Shall we take our walk?
Actually, I do. You want to come over and sign it and give me your official ID?
I would like you to leave.
I'm not going to sign it.
I'm
with
gonna,
Well, we're all
I'm,
public.
I'm
I'll
gonna
get it-
ask, I'm
I'll
gonna
get it
ask
out
you
of
nicely to not record our property. If you want to record the sidewalk, by all
But
means.
are
walk
you
around.
People
a-
want to know where these illegal foreclosures are coming from. What kind of foreclosure mill?
We're dealing. You know what we're dealing with?
Okay.
We're dealing with the recording of private property.
Okay, well, what we would
We're
like
not
to
dealing
do...
with anything
Okay, so
that
what
has to
we'd
do
like
with
to ask
foreclosures
is,
or
why
mills
are
or
you
anything
recording
else.
false documentation? Because all of us here have had our homes stolen by fraud involving McCarthy and Holthus.
We're not going to speak with you guys about
But you do the documentation, so we have the attorney on record now saying that you guys deal with the recording document.
No, I did not say that
With
at all. You
documents.
have record of me saying I didn't say that.
What did you say? I want to be
Nothing.
clear.
That's I didn't say anything.
you
So we're dealing with the recording of private
Okay.
property. No, we're trying to work. We're dealing with the recording of private
Okay.
property. No, we're trying to work.
Have the attorney.
I would like for
Something
you guys
about
to
I think we're
look.
done here.
So
We
if you
have-
guys are on our
Okay, well, we
property,
didn't approach you. You approached us, and we're taking a walk.
when you
only
end up back
approached you
on
to
the
ask
grass
you to
like you were over there
get
on
off
our
of our
property.
Oh, but we're off your property.
Thank you.
We just had the older women sitting and enjoying.
It's not a seat, so please get off of our property.
Would you like to invite them in for coffee and discuss some
No, I
things?
would not. Turn off the
What's his
camera.
name?
Turn off the camera.
No, I won't. I'm in public
Sure, I
property.
am. Okay.
No, you can't order me. I'm on
Move on,
public
please.
property.
I don't know that.
Okay,
I don't know
well,
that.
thank
Could you
for your
invite
time.
these people in and have coffee and discuss
do
what's
not get
happened
on
to
the-
the
No, we're trying to
homes?
work. You're disrupting our workday. Why would I invite you guys in and disrupt our workday?
These are the
Look,
people
I would
you're
like you guys
working
look, enjoy the park. Have a good rest of your day. All right, just for your record and for your record. Nobody said anything and nobody agrees to anything. This nice lady said, just you have that on the record, right? You guys have a good rest of your day. And for one last thing, sir, let me finish. One last. I'm trying to leave. I'm not being competition. So one last time, please just stay off the grass. Right. Enjoy the sidewalk in the streets of the park. Stop stealing homes. Stop stealing homes. Stop stealing homes.
Please quit stealing homes! Please quit stealing homes!
Yeah.
Lock them up, honey.
Lock them up.
They didn't agree, but he didn't deny. And we didn't confront them, they confronted us.
We did not deny.
So let's take a walk around the corner and find our way back here. That was very interesting. All we did was stand on public land and they came out. That was very interesting. All we did was stand on public land and they came out and their first girl wouldn't identify herself, but she wanted to know what we were doing. We don't have to tell people what we're doing. We're on public property. They came out, asked us to stay off their property and confronted us and told us that you couldn't film them, which is not true. You can film anybody standing in public. So he backed up onto their property, but he wouldn't tell us who he was. So how do we know who he is and that he's saying the truth? He said he was a lawyer and that he's going to call the police. Well, fine. We're not doing anything wrong. All we want to know is why are they stealing homes? And he did say this is where they create the documents. That's what he said. This is where they create the documents.
Have you ever known an attorney who didn't want to give you his name and business card?
Came out and told us we couldn't be here, but he didn't want to tell us who he was. And the girl that came out originally, did you see how they're dressed so unprofessionally? This is what's sad, is they hire people who really don't know what they're doing. And that girl comes out and tells me I have to tell her who I am and what we're doing. What is she, an attorney too? Because she really was very rude. You know, and we're out here having a walk. We're just walking.
She didn't even offer you a cup of coffee.
No, and we would have, you know what? We would have sat down with them. We weren't unpeaceful. They came out confrontational.
They were pretty
very
confrontational.
They were very defensive and confrontational, and all we're doing is standing out here. So we didn't go to them, they came to us. Isn't that interesting?
It is
we didn't even
interesting.
get to, isn't that interesting?
It is
we didn't even get to knock on the door.
There goes justice flying away.
We also have other veteran programs that we have going, and the whole idea is to peacefully cross all racial, religious, and democratic, republic, all lines of politics, and say it's time to end these crimes against the people. Maxine.
Hi, I'm Billy Renee Francis Lillian Powers. I have a case ongoing in an appeal called Powers versus the Bank in New York Mellon et al. It also is the foundation with interested parties and hundreds of participants for the Ketam known as Beshears versus the United States at Washington, D.C. Courts of Claim. What we have had happen is whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork to help us with the case. I have a whistleblower who heard we were going to McCARTHY and Holthus, and today we have that whistleblower with us. And what this whistleblower has to say is monumental to all of we homeowners who have said all along, these documents are being created to give an appearance of clear title when in fact none existed and there's no standing to take our homes. I want to thank William Wagener for coming all the way down and participating and being here to film this. Thank you so much, and thank you to this whistleblower and to all others involved in this case. We have a case for 67 million dispossessed homeowners, thanks to people like this whistleblower today.
So, what's your first point? You're the whistleblower, and I appreciate it, what you're doing.
While working at McCARTHY Holthus, it was my job to create a chain of title when one did not exist. If documents were missing, we were told to add random documents to make it appear as though there was a chain of title. The longer I worked there, I began reading case law, and I found that what I was doing, I believed to be illegal. But I was under such stress with having to place my quotas and keep my job.
What was your quota daily?
8 to 12 motions a day.
A day you were supposed to do 8 to 12 motions per day?
That was my quota, and I was told if I wasn't able to get up to speed, then I would lose my job.
You didn't have much time to think about what you were doing, did you?
No.
Grab something from somebody else's motion, put it to something that has nothing to do with the situs of the property you're dealing with.
Correct.
So, do I understand that?
Do you understand that correctly? Yes.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
That's okay. And we never actually had original documents in our possession. So really, we didn't know whether or not whether the documents we were dealing with were full and complete and legal. We never saw originals of any document.
You never touched the original wet ink copy of anything?
Correct.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. So as I learned more of what I was doing, I felt that McCARTHY Holthus was using their employees to unduly enrich the banks to get back their properties. They would have someone pay on it for a few years. When they couldn't do it anymore, they'd foreclose on it and sell it again, and over again.
Was there ever any intent to help them remortgage and get a new loan?
No. We were told on multiple occasions to deny all first loan mods.
Do you remember who specifically told you that?
It was in a video conference with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac executives.
With Fannie Mae in a conference call?
Yes.
And Fannie Mae was where, on the West Coast or on the East Coast?
It was a video conference.
Wow. But you don't remember the specific person in that video telling you to deny all first
loan mods.
Wow. Go ahead, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
And that's precisely why they picked the employees they did, is no legal experience. If you could run a computer, you could work there. That was the only requirement.
If you could run a computer. So somebody that didn't even finish high school could work there?
Yes, to my knowledge.
So when you were hired, did they say, do you have a college degree? They just want to know if you could run a computer?
Correct.
That was the only standard?
Yes.
Wow. Did they give you any training on running their computers?
We were given extensive training on their computers and their systems, specific to them. But we were never instructed that it was improper to attach allonges to notes that weren't part of the original document.
Wow. And while you were there, did they tell you to dress nice or?
No. In fact, we were told just the opposite. Don't dress like lawyers or anything like that. Dress like regular people on the street. So
like you might be going to the beach to hang out for a while.
Exactly.
Wow.
So we wouldn't be
I think we saw that today. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
That was pretty much my points.
So the chain of titles are fraudulent?
I believe so. In
your belief?
In my belief.
From what you were grabbing from different people's files and just podging them together.
What I was doing from different sources of digitized documents, mainly MERS, they were coming from all different
And so you had
sources.
access to MERS?
Yes.
Every day?
Yes.
Did you have a security code or anything to get into MERS?
Everyone had passwords to get onto the systems. You had different passwords for different systems.
So people could get into MERS who didn't even have a high school education, had no paralegal training,
Correct.
did not know that they were doing is help commit a felony?
Correct. I didn't realize until after I actually read law and I read the DOJ settlement.
Did you do that on your own time?
No.
You did that at work?
Yeah, we were encouraged to read case law.
You were encouraged to read case law.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like learning as you commit the fraud, but you've gotten used to doing your part of creating fraudulent documents while you're learning the law? Do I understand that right?
Yes.
And you've got to put out a minimum of 8 motions a day or lose your job?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes, I'm very sure. It caused me so much stress.
Okay, go ahead. I interrupted you. Finish reading what you wanted to say.
The quotas just were so, for me personally, were so difficult to obtain that it caused me health problems and, mental anguish.
Yeah. So you had personal damages from doing this. Was you recognizing the homeowners were also having personal damages?
Oh, yes.
Wow. Do you think Congress has an obligation to do something about this?
Yes.
How about the state legislature? Because we're in the state of California.
Yes, we do. And whether the banks like it or not, the law should be followed, not what is beneficial for the bank. It's the law. And when notes and deeds of trust are voided or mishandled, the law should prevail, not what's beneficial to the bank or what's easy for the judge.
Did anybody ever tell you while you were at work that don't worry about this little issue or don't worry about that because the judge that may hear this has stock in the bank? Did anybody ever say that?
I wasn't privy to
You didn't hear that?
No.
Did it ever occur to you this might end up in front of a judge, but don't worry about it?
Towards the end of my time there, I was concerned that my paperwork would go before a judge and be questioned.
And you were using your own name or someone else's name when you put these documents together?
I don't know. That's just it. I don't know whether my name is connected with any of the paperwork that was in their systems. It should be, but once it went to the attorney, it should not have been. My name should not have been connected with the
Some
documents.
attorney should have put their name on.
Correct.
So the attorney gets a document that's been rammed together, he stamps his name on it, and your name shouldn't have even appeared. So no one would ever know
Right.
that this attorney doesn't even know what he's bringing into court.
Correct.
That explains why they look so stupid sometimes when Cindy Brown and others and Sherry Moody question them in front of the judge. That explains a lot. Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this interview. Is there anything else you want to say for this clip?
Just that I hope that I can help in some way, someone getting their home back.
I think you just did. I think you just helped a lot. I wish there were more whistleblowers like you, and we'll protect your identity until Congress subpoenas you to testify. I thank you very much on behalf of you and Billy Renee Powers and Faith Brashear and Sherry Moody and literally millions of homeowners that have become homeless people because of what you just described. And it's amazing to me because I rarely get to hear somebody like you from the inside of that building. They wouldn't let us in. I offered to ask them, can we come in and have coffee and sit down and talk? And no, they were not having it. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate it. And I thank you people at home and on YouTube for watching. You need to call your congressman.
The law should prevail, not what's beneficial to the bank or what's easy for the judge.
And see that something gets done. Call your state assemblyman, who you probably don't even know, or your state senator and say, this needs to stop. We need to fix this now. And some judges that have colluded, whether they're federal or state, need to be held accountable, i.e. prison time, for cooperating with crooked documents. On the face of them, they don't make sense. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'm just William Wagener for On Second Thought. Thanks for tuning in. Back to the studio. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a whistleblower. It's really a big deal. Do I have your permission to put this on television, YouTube, and other media?
It automatically closes down and it goes to a seal, and that seal is a seal of truth, and they actually put a stamp, the seal of truth, on it. So now we have a colonel who's now engaging us in
Full bird colonel, by the way.
Full bird colonel, going into an Article 3 tribunals at the federal claim court, turning that into the ability for set-offs and offsets for the claiming of the namesake. Now, the namesake, as you're aware, is you, your name, to which they used as the creditor you are the actual person who went...
utility.
Yeah, the utility, the vessel, the commercial vessel, that was turned into a member bank, and they borrowed the money against your credit, and then tandem net advanced on the deed of trust. And if you understand what the deed of trust is, for those who... It's actually in an IRS form. If you look at the bottom right-hand side of that deed of trust, that instrument is actually an IRS instrument. That is what's called a government election of action. That it allows them to use your signature for that registration. Now, when they were doing the MERS pass-through system, that is nothing but a registration system. Now, it is called the Trademark Underwriting Mortgage Electronic Registration System, which spells
tumors.
Tumors.
It's the cancer of our lives as far as stealing our lands, our estates, and our lives.
And it was willful and deliberate because pass-through remix are tax exempt.
Let's go around by quality loans. The Bratton sisters, Michael Rodriguez, it was not only us, it was and the 28ers. So what we did was we all together planned this and made sure that we would be seen and heard, and obviously they don't like the truth.
No.
Over at McCARTHY and Holthus.
That's why I have to talk about the sidewalk and all that cognitive dissonance. You know? Like they have to talk about something other than their thing in the room.
Right. They changed it, and when I brought it back to the documents.
And we're not even in their doorway. We're not in their building. They could just see the agitation because you're putting a light on what's going on and how corrupt the system is.
Exactly.
It's designed for an elite ruling class that knows the political establishment will protect them.
Building behind us where the attorneys came out. They wouldn't give us names. One said he was an attorney. The other was Owens, correct? And he said he was an attorney, but they did say something about this is where the documents are created. So anyhow, we've agreed to stay off their property because we hadn't planned on being anything but peaceful. We just wanted to know who was in charge of creating the documents that stole our home, and we didn't even have to ask, they told us. So they're creating the documents here. He did not agree that they're stealing our homes, but as all of us know, we've had our homes stolen. Exactly. So our goal through Powers versus Bank of New York Mellon at appeal and through Brashear versus United States at the Washington Court of Claims, Washington, D.C., our goal is for all 67 million dispossessed homeowners to be represented. We have hundreds of people that have sent in their documentation, hundreds, and Judge David O. Carter, by admission on the record, ordered all the interested party documentation to be destroyed.
The law should prevail, not what's beneficial to the bank or what's easy for the judge.
So that actually is being taken to task because that actually is a crime. You cannot destroy documents in a court like that, and I've had it on real good authority, and I'm very sad because I like Judge Carter. I really did. I thought he was going to do the right thing. So faith is going to continue where regarding the remix, which remember in our case we've proven that in order for them to do anything, now remember on the floor committee hearing they're trying to do away with the collateral. The requirement for collateral. Well, what they're not saying is that's the 100% cash collateral deposit that is required for any credit lending. And by the way, the other thing they forgot is they have no authority to lend to the people or the public at large.
Well, you can't lend your own credit. It's ultra-virus, bottom line. I mean, there are, I have pages of ultra-virus laws that I submitted as a written memorandum of laws that you list out. And I think it was like 5 pages long of ultra-virus.
It was beautifully written. And remember, with each violation comes trillions of dollars of claims when per person, per woman, per man, per child, per grandmother, anyone harmed in these families have a right to claim, which is Form 95. And on our websites, on the disleague.com and on abolishthebankers.com, we have the information for you to send in your letters of support to these cases along with your claim forms for damages.
Okay, because the claim form is that they used you as a commercial vessel, okay? They proclaimed you missing in action.
Okay.
Enjoy. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day. Gosh, look at how nice to have your top down.
Okay, so basically when they set up these master pass-through trusts, all right, they are set up to do just that. They pass through. You have the originator of the REMIC, who's what is disclosed to you as the lender, who actually originates for the security, which was never securitized per se, it was collateralized. So you never had an actual security instrument ever.
And let me interject. The collateral that is supposed to be held in these REMIC trusts is the collateral deposit of 100% cash. But what they're doing is they're using the situs as the collateral, not your property. You'll notice that what's listed in there is an address. That address is called a situs, and the situs is how MERS creates the identity theft and the fake MERS mortgages on the back side that they're laundering hundreds of times over, and billions and trillions of dollars that are being floated through these courts. And the other thing is the judges and the courts also have a conflict of interest, and so does this building, because MERS fake mortgages are on everything, and many of these components of the people have MERS mortgages, they have bought REOs, they've bought properties that have been stolen directly through their courts, and they live in them.
That's true. Yeah, the judge wanted my property. That's why I got beaten out of my home.
All of us are affected by the way, physically, mentally, emotionally. My husband's really sick, and we are all struggling because of these crimes. Because mentally, we're deprived of having a happy life.
Your house is
and
like,
we're
house is like a family member, right? It's like having it's like having a child with cancer.
Yes.
So your pursuit of happiness has been interfered with?
Yes, major. This is a big crime, treasonous crime
How many people
against
here
the
have been
banks.
hospitalized for damages from the banks? I've had a stroke. Faith has had a stroke. How many others here have had a stroke from the bank, from the stress?
Near stroke, but I lost a lot of hair. My friends were so fearful in 2010, 2011. They were so fearful that something horrible was happening with me because I had lost, you could see my scalp. I mean, I look like Smeagol from Lord of the Rings. I was so ashamed to go. But this is it. That's the crime.
Everyone is injured. Financial crimes against humanity. In December 2018, President Trump put out an executive order addressing that everything that's associated with someone doing financial crimes against humanity is to be seized. Now that's, when he said foreign, the banks are foreign. They're foreign entities. So what we see, and we know that, remember Citibank was shut down. Remember Citibank being shut down for a few days? Well, that wasn't by chance, that was by design.
What year was that?
2 months ago, 3 months ago, just recently. Then Chase was also warned that they'd be shut down.
The law should prevail, not what's beneficial to the bank or what's easy for the judge.
So what we had on the financial committee floor was all the bankers and the congressmen and women, and the one thing that they unequivocally answered very fast was when they were asked, do you believe the gold standard should be brought back? Each one of them, as fast as you could breathe, said no, 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 no. The only thing they all said quickly without second stepping, and even Brian Moynihan, who whispered through the whole thing, very loudly said no. So what that should do is scare the bejeebies out of us, especially since Maxine Waters called them the captains of the universe. I don't know about you, but they are not the captain of my universe. My Lord and Savior is the captain of my universe. Our unalienable rights trump any of this. And this is part also of what Faith has brought into the case.
Right, because you have to understand the tumors, because it is what it is a trademark system. That means when you look at your actual deed of trust, which we know is a government election of action, okay, it specifically says the borrower is all caps, and contract law is very specific. Contract law means that that is an entity or a corporation. Now, if you look at the actual trademark, the actual verbiage on the trademark for the mortgage electronic registration,
what's
that is
beneficial
what
to the
nations
bank
make,
or what's
and
easy
they
for the
specifically
judge.
state right in there that they are borrowing against the intellectual property, which is us. So that trademark is also posted on the website, okay?
www.disleague.com and abolishthebankers.com. It's very important that you all recognize the urgency to get your documentation and information in, because we're sending evidence of crimes.
Can we send it to?
They're
posted on the
website.
Remics, okay? They each have different pass-through Remics. Remic 1, Remic 2, Remic 3. Your Remic 1, just the 3, is your pooled loans. Now these pooled loans, the way that the Remic was set up, it was set up only to hold one thing. It cannot hold both the deed and the note. That means it would exempt its tax-exempt status. But the thing is, when they created these pass-throughs, and when I was beta testing these pass-throughs, okay, it was specifically targeted through groups of people, okay, to make sure that they were higher risk to emulate those triggered defaults that we know now are embedded on the deeds of trust themselves. Okay, so why it's worth trillions and trillions of dollars is because they are tax-exempt special purpose vehicle, and any player who goes without the proper authority for the foreclosure process through U.S. Treasury, and we cite all of these wonderful codes to which they violate, that means that they violated the tax-exempt status, which means per their own pooling and service agreements and prospectus, we can call into question the tax-exempt status, which means that every player is now due and liable for 115% plus back due penalties for violating that tax-exempt status.
And remember, Obdusky has affirmed that McCARTHY and Holthus and other law firms, they're saying they're not debt collectors, but that's what all their letters say, but they are saying they're dealing in securities. So what does that mean McCARTHY and Holthus is doing? They're using counterfeit securities to steal our homes under a deed of trust that no longer exists.
And no mortgage ever existed. They're foreclosing under mortgages is what they're doing. And there are no mortgages on these loans.
There's no loan.
There are no loans.
There's no student loans. There's no credit card debt. There's nothing. There's nothing but fake documentation.
And they did it to raid the Treasury. And that's why you have SB 25 and SB 26 on the ballot right now that audit the Treasury, that audit the IRS. They're pushing that to try to get it passed. And the move right now is to capture the Federal Reserve, to take the Federal Reserve down. It is going on right now. And if you see what's actually happening around you, okay, the FBI just got deployed back to New York and Washington, D.C., okay? There are some major things that are happening out there right now that are ready to go down. So expect to see arrest, expect to see indictments, okay? Expect to see...
Well, the good news is, think about this. All of the politicians have been involved. Okay, all of them. They all are, because they're all foreign entities once they take that oath. But think about this. If you're a criminal, what do we see them doing? They take plea deals. So when you have the biggest criminals in the country who know the crimes, what better way to save your own arse than to belly up?
Yeah, but he's got to get the gold standard back.
Yes, and the banks unequivocally, what did they say?
No gold.
And what do we say to the gold standard? Yes. And what do we say to Glass-Steagall? Yes. And what do we say to McCARTHY and Holthus? Stop stealing home! Stop stealing home! Stop stealing home! Stop stealing home! Woo!
The law should prevail, not what's beneficial to the bank or what's easy for the judge.
My neighbor lost his home. Many of you learned of my story. I was a successful realtor. I did loans. I did it all. I worked with this home, the building, when it was First American. I knew Mr. McCarthy and Mr. Holthus personally. I was part of it. And all of a sudden, one day in 2008, my neighbor at my beautiful property came by and with tears in his eyes said, I lost my home today. And I said, I saw the for sale sign down there. I'm sorry I didn't do anything about it. And I knew that when he lost his home, he was a pretty smart dude. So I said, tell me the story. He said, I worked hard. We were given a free loan. We added the kitchen, we added the bath, and then when we were ready to sell, EMC, which is bought out by Chase, given to Chase, EMC owned it, and I said, my God, you took $200,000 off my home on the price he was being quoted at the courthouse steps. He said, the bastard stole my home. And I said, you cost me $200,000. Now,
Equity.
he looked at me and he stopped crying. And I said, I'm sorry. That was my introduction. I couldn't tell that story for over a year. I would choke up. Why? I knew my next door neighbor in the other direction. They were on the other side at the mailbox. And I said, how are you doing? He said, oh, this thing that's gone on here has cost me $200,000 of my savings equity. The banks took my equity in my retirement fund. Neighbor A lost it on the foreclosure, $200. Neighbor B lost his $200 stolen from Wall Street.
And you lost.
And I lost at least that much. And I said, whoa, what am I going to do about this? Being a good researcher, I started the process. All of you have started your own process. When you discover one thing, there's another turtle and another rock. I have evidence in 2009 from 6 executives from 6 different lenders telling me they weren't going to research any further. I had what I was going to get. I said, that's fantastic. What I learned is simply this. Wall Street had created, with the use of my loan, that I accepted an obligation, they created a bond security. Didn't tell me that. It was a secret lien.
And didn't tell you you were the investor.
I didn't even know that. I still don't believe it, but
It's true.
But I am what I am too.
Yeah, sure.
and so I look at it and I go, here's what they did. They took my signature on my loan paper and created electronic output from it because I don't see any brake trucks anywhere. Nobody's moving money anymore. And I said, whoa, this is a different game we're in. And that's when I uncovered the meaning of Wall Street interactive numbers, scroll numbers, and your loan number disappears. And it disappears through the process called MERS. MERS has access to 4 different portals. One is to bring the product in from lenders at the ground like we have here, me, others, and it's coming in and being repackaged in bulk to the next level, and it loses its identity.
It bypasses it completely into the securitization process like you're describing. It completely dissolves the note. Notes don't exist. That's why you had cases like Countrywide, was it Kemper? Or in Countrywide?
Kemp versus Kemp, oh yeah.
Yeah, the one that was, that the note never left the file.
Right,
one.
Kemp versus Country.
Yeah, that one. That is because they never left the, because they knew it went directly into collateralization. It was never securitized, which means that every loan across this nation, all they have to do is say, I rescind, because there was no consummation. They were all unilateral contracts.
The law should prevail, not what's beneficial to the bank or what's easy for the judge.
Anti-aircraft overlap.
They presented 9-0.
9-0. Our Supreme Court in 2015 said, anybody can rescind at risk their obligation under TILA. And a lot of people just wrote and sent them in. Well, we didn't believe that, so we started collecting the data. And the proof that you could go and take it to a judge at any level and say, we tried to get it from Holthus, we tried to get it from Quality Loan, we tried to get it from Quality Loan Services, we tried to get it from Quality Loan Services Corp. you realize they're all the same company?
Yeah. Owner right there.
Now, when you look at it from that point of view, where does the game end?
It doesn't.
It never ends.
And derivatives?
Yep.
Derivatives are the, what was it that Warren Buffett said? They're the bomb.
Yeah,
They're the bomb.
Package bomb.
Package bomb. So
Dirty bomb.
what all of this means is, from the inception, now the Deputy Attorney General out of LA said, Billy, you guys can quit chasing your tail, quit going down rabbit holes. It takes one document of fraud. It's a void. It doesn't exist. So all of us going into court, they, by design, these documents they're admittedly creating here, these documents are created to give an illusion under the color of law that they have a right to present securities dressed as a deed of trust that are empty and never existed. The trust is empty. There is nothing collateral. This is why we cannot let Wall Street bankers unilaterally say no to the gold standard and rid us of the demand. And
That's Renee Powers. That was yesterday, 25th of April. There were some whistleblowers like her in Australia.
The law should prevail, not what's beneficial to the bank or what's easy for the judge.
For the next show on Public Access, we're right on channel on Second Thought.